Mr. Farrakhan, remember this? Published 3 months ago? Thank you for repeating it. Seems like you're always late and vague about your so-called warnings. Your 2020 hindsight is amazing. You had lots to say about why Allah chose Mr. Trump after he was chosen. You should have checked with me before Mr. Trump was elected, and I could have told you he would be elected and why before he was elected. Suddenly, you are so clairvoyant about Iran, a subject you have had little or nothing to say before now. Now you see so clearly. You didn't even bother to edit my narrative on the subject. You just repeated it verbatim. You know what they say, quote, once a thief, always a thief, end quote. Like all thieves and liars, they usually get caught in their own webs. No, Mr. Trump, America doesn't belong to the original people. The entire planet belongs to the original people. But I guess the demons such as yourself, the black-faced Caucasians, the devil's seed, who the devils tormented our women to give birth to you, their seed, do have some claim to the theft of America, as it was your fathers who stole it. So why would you want to go anywhere when your home is here with Daddy? Lift my teachings all you like. It will not profit you, but it will be a witness against you and all the demons who follow you. Quote, all who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them, end quote. Yes, it appears to be true. A thief and liar. Steal my words and lie as to how you got them. But you know as well as I do that the true believers fled from you years ago. They are not deceived by you and your lies. Iran and America are about to clash, and the results will be catastrophic for not only America, but for you too. Your days are numbered. Quote, till thrones are cast down, and the Ancient of Days did set, end quote. Tell me, Mr. Clairvoyant, what thrones are they talking about? You claim to be the Son of Man, the Lamb, and everything else. Surely you have a firm grasp on the angel, since you have broken its seals. So please enlighten us to who and what the thrones are. While you are at it, who is the, quote, mouth, end quote, who has made war with the saints /FOI and overcame them? Enlighten us, please. Quote, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and is not concerned about the sheep. Sounds like you, Mr. Anointed, when you saw the NOI, who you claim was in your charge, in trouble, the wolf at the door, you ran and hid, leaving the NOI exposed and scattered. You had no care for what you left behind in the dust. Believers' livelihoods were destroyed. Believers' lives were lost. Some believers became destitute. But where were you, the anointed, the caretaker, the leader? Where were you? With Daddy, begging to be let back into Daddy's grace, into Daddy's house. When you depart, which will be soon, you will leave the NOI in worse shape than it was when you tore it down and abandoned it. But the Ancient of Days sit. He will clean up your mess and cast out your demons. The foolish originals that followed you will suffer the great tribulation as a result of your treachery. That's your legacy: lies, betrayal, cowardice.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am begging our president and the government that supports him to be very, very careful, because if the trigger of war in the Middle East is pulled by you using your surrogates at the insistence of Israel, then the war will trigger another kind of war which will bring China, Russia, all of the nations into a war. And it bothers me to say this to you, Mr. President, but the war will end America as you know it. Our affairs in the person. So when these Iranians chant death to America, death to Israel, no chant can bring about your death, but it is your policies that are eroding trust for you in the world, favor for you in the world. And now you're pulling apart, confused. And if you do this, you will bring about, not the Iranian chant, you will bring about the death of the greatest nation. Process of being resurrected from a mental. I know that chant came from the people of Iran. And this sanction is what's hurting the people of Iran. They have a right to chant it. But I am not a chanter. I am a worker for God. And the truth will undo falsehood, and the righteous will win against the wicked. Not with a chant.
Death to the United States is not a slogan chanted by the Iranian government.
In America, they said that they gave Iran billions of dollars, but they never said that they were holding over $150 billion of Iranian money, and they were supposed to give it back during the treaty arrangement. But has Iran gotten that money back yet? Can anybody answer that question for me? With one another. I want to warn you. You speak as the foolish. America is mine. America is ours. Our sweat and our blood built America. How dare you say that we have no place there? How dare you say that we cannot criticize your evil and point it out to you? I am more of a patriot than most of you who bow down to evil, and it is only truth that will make America better. And I speak that truth, and I will be back in America to speak it again.
To Trump, do not attack North Korea nor Iran, specifically Iran. The day you do it, you will surely die within a year. Within 1 year, you, Eve, your son Cain / Israel, and husband Adam / Britain will be no more. I know you will ignore this warning. I know you will be made aware of the warning. We know all your secrets, your secret plans. You have reached your expiration date, a date built into your people's DNA by your maker. From this point on, everything you do will backfire. Everything. Your history, your destiny was written before your existence. Your destruction will come as a snare, and you will not escape.
And the U.S. is, for example, moving ever closer to war with Iran. In a speech Monday, the Secretary of State threatened to, quote, crush the Iranian government. Congress may get on board with that. There is a debate right now at this hour on Capitol Hill over legislation that would allow military force against Iran. Keep in mind that the American military is exhausted, our government is broke, and Iran, for all its many faults, is far from the main sponsor of terror against Americans. Not even close, actually, no matter what they tell you. Maybe you support going to war with Iran. It's okay. Maybe you don't support it. But either way, you should know that it could happen much sooner than you think. CNN will not tell you that, so we thought we should, and we're going to follow it, no matter how unpopular it is.
We will track down Iranian operatives and their Hezbollah proxies operating around the world, and we will crush them. Iran will never again have carte blanche to dominate the Middle East.
On direct organization claiming the US actions are illegal, something President Macron of France told President Trump today during a phone call. He also warned that economic nationalism like this leads to war.
Iran may be preparing for retaliation against all of that. Israel has gone on alert, as you say, in the Golan Heights in northern Israel. Shelters are now ordered to be open. Everyone is, including the U.S. military.
Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has said the United States has lost its cards in Syria, calling on America to leave the country in an interview with Russia today. Assad said, "The Americans should leave. Somehow they're going to leave. They came to Iraq with no legal basis, and look what happened to them. They have to learn their lesson. Iraq is no exception. Syria is no exception. People will not accept foreigners in this region anymore. The U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces, or SDF, a predominantly Kurdish group that controls parts of northern Syria, has been dubbed by Assad as the only problem left in Syria. He said it would be confronted with force if negotiations fail.
If Iran threatens us in any way, they will pay a price like few countries have ever paid.
North Korea best not make any more threats to the United States. They will be met with fire and fury like the world has never seen. He has been very threatening beyond a normal state. And as I said, they will be met with fire, fury, and frankly power, the likes of which this world has never seen before.
Scripturally, the earth is Europe, the home of the Caucasians. Adam was raised from the dust of the earth. Adam, Britain, came from Europe, from the immigrants, rejects, exiles, the dust of Europe. Britain is made up of islands. Britain is not in Europe. The British language called English is a language made up of many languages from Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. The alphabet and numerals are derived from Arabic. The rise of Prophet Muhammad forced the Europeans and British into 1,000 years of so-called Dark Ages. This is the deep sleep that was put upon Adam. When Adam, Britain, awoke from his 1,000-year slumber, there was Eve, America taken from his side. America derived from the British people. America started out as a colony and extension of Britain, but eventually became independent. The tree of knowledge of good, evil, and life, actually one tree, was transplanted from Africa to Eden, which is America. America is the Garden of Eden. The tree is the original nation transplanted from Africa to America. The good part of the tree is symbolic of the Levite Muslims, and the evil part of the tree is symbolic of the Levite Christians. The life part of the tree is symbolic of the Muslims from the tribe of Judah, the true Israel. The other parts of the tree are symbolic of the animists and idolaters from Africa. Adam and Eve were told not to go after the Levites, the good and evil parts of the tree, which they eventually tried to do during the tribulation. The life part of the tree, the true Israel, called the elect, the 144,000, are protected. They were removed and spared the tribulation. The nations called beasts in Genesis were named by Adam. Adam is Britain. They have English names which they do not call themselves. Adam and Eve had 3 sons. The first was Cain, then Abel, then Seth. Abel, which is symbolic of Syria, was killed by Cain, which is symbolic of Israel, false Israel. Cain killed his brothers. This is the invasion of the Middle East inspired by false Israel in 1990, the beginning of America's full-fledged war against Islam. 2018, the serpent, symbolic of Obama, approaches Eve, symbolic of America, convincing her that she can safely eat from the tree of evil, meaning she can safely sacrifice millions of black Christians to a contrived war with Russia. This is Babylon Has Fallen in chapter 18. This sequence of events, beginning with the so-called Gulf War, the invasion of Iraq, 1990, ending with the desolation of Parliament in 2018. America makes her opening attack on Islam in her plan to break the back of Islam following the collapse of the Soviet Union. The so-called Gulf War was the first event in the first of 2 attacks against Iraq, where America disturbs the power balance in the region, pushing Iran and Syria into the margins. Iran and Syria are the 2 witnesses of the IMMINENT, whose power is superseded by the presence of America and Britain in the region. 2008, Obama/Belshazzar, the rider on the white horse in the first seal, comes to power. During this period, Jonah begins his preaching to Nineveh. 2017, Obama, called the serpent, steps down. He is Belshazzar, who was prophesied to be the last king of Babylon, depending on whether he listens to Daniel/Joseph or not, as he was to be overthrown by Darius/Herod. But the prophecy of Joseph was a mercy. If he listened to Daniel/Joseph, such that Babylon/Egypt would be spared until the next Pharaoh, who would bring the plagues down on America and be forced to give up the original people. The Jonah sign, quote, the last sign to be given this evil generation, end quote, defines a scenario where Herod delays Nineveh's, the great city's, America's destruction during Obama's reign at Jonah's expense until the Pharaoh, Mr. Trump. A mercy to the NOI in hopes that they will hear Jonah and take the additional time to wake up. 2018, America, Britain, false Israel, Gog, Magog, and the Antichrist respectively push against Iran and Syria, the Shia. They are planning to attack Iran, a proxy of Russia, in order to break the back of Islam and to ignite a conventional war with Russia in their plan of the genocide of American and British blacks by war. They want to be able to send millions of reproductive black men and women to their deaths as patriots fighting for their country. However, their plan is interrupted by a preemptive attack by the Shia, who throw them out of the region. America and Britain, defeated and humiliated by their defeat at the hands of the Shia with Russian help and Farad's help, which they conceal from the public, proceed with their plans of war with Russia and China, using their defeat with Russian help as the pretext to war against Russia. False Israel under siege by the Shia is overthrown and taken. Meanwhile, the American and British attack on North Korea has drawn China into the war. Black Christians are violently resisting and in open rebellion, being forced/drafted into America's war against China and Russia. Their eyes have been opened by Jonah to the truth of America's and Britain's plans of genocide of the blacks by war. Then comes the horrific act, the desolation of Parliament committed against Jerusalem in revenge for the defeat and expulsion of false Israel from the Middle East, followed immediately by the four winds, the plagues.